Today, I'm preparing steaks, Erica's favorite. I'm sure Erica will be delighted. Imagining Erica's happy face, I set the table with steaks, and Erica's eyes filled with sparkle. But the next moment, upon seeing the table laden with ingredients, Erica suddenly looked downcast. "It's your favorite steaks, Erica. Aren't you going to eat?" My husband, Matthew, peered into Erica's face and asked. But Erica suddenly stood up and ran straight to her bag, rummaging through it. As we watched Erica's puzzling actions, she inexplicably pulled out a food storage container from her bag. "Can I take this home? I always feel sorry for Mommy." Saying this, Erica started packing the dinner into the food storage container. We were stunned by Erica's sudden actions. "What's this about? Can you tell Grandma and me?" Matthew asked in a calm voice, but Erica's face darkened.
"Mommy gets yelled at by Dad if she eats. She says she can only eat leaves."
We were at a loss for words at Erica's unexpected revelation. However, Matthew stood up with determination and stormed out of the house. I hurried to stop Matthew.
"Wait! Where are you going?"
Holding Erica emotionlessly, he began to call a cab.
"Hurry! We're going to see Spencer right away."
We immediately headed to Helena's house by cab. What we saw there. My name is Sharon Stewart. I worked as a childcare provider but retired after getting married. I met Matthew in my 20s when I started working as a childcare provider. He was the son of a friend of my mother. He was a reticent and seemingly unfriendly but competent employee at a major corporation. Matthew, 8 years my senior, had not been successful with arranged marriages, making me his 10th attempt. Matthew, who had made it into the upper echelons of his company at a young age, had impeccable educational credentials and a high income. However, he was a bit difficult to approach, rarely smiled, and was of a quiet disposition. Matthew seemed to struggle with social interactions, and on the day we were introduced, he mostly talked about work. Yet, I gradually warmed up to him, touched by his earnest attempts to share about himself. I came to know him as more delicate than I thought, a kind-hearted person who was considerate of others more than anyone. After the introduction, we started seeing each other more frequently. 3 months into knowing each other, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Our relationship deepened, and 2 years into our courtship, we got married, bought a house, and built a happy home. Every day was fulfilling. However, there was one concern for us. 2 years into our marriage, we were still not blessed with children. Colleagues and friends who married around the same time already had children, but I remained childless. Both of us loved children and were saddened multiple times by our inability to have our own. It was when we reached our 5th year of marriage without having met our own child. Just when we were about to give up on having children, we were blessed with our daughter, Helena. We were overjoyed to finally become parents. I remember feeling profoundly happy that we could finally be parents. With Helena's birth, our life began to shine. Our life standards shifted entirely to revolve around Helena. Even Matthew, usually busy with work, would turn down invitations from colleagues to come straight home for dinner with Helena, increasing their time together. On his days off, we started going on trips and creating family time. We adored our precious Helena. Helena grew up and went off to college, leaving the nest. Even now, the thought of our young Helena living alone filled us more with anxiety. Matthew was the most concerned about Helena living away from us for the first time. "Is Helena eating properly?"
"She'll be fine. She always gets in touch, after all."
The daily meal photos Helena sent became our only delight after she moved out. About a year after she left, Helena called with a cheerful voice, saying she had someone she wanted us to meet. Nervously, we greeted them when they visited our home during a long vacation. "I'm in a relationship with Helena." A man in a neatly tailored suit, who attended the same department as Helena and would later become her husband, named Spencer, came to our house. It seems they got close through attending the same club and started dating. Though we were a bit shaken up by Helena's first boyfriend, we gradually warmed up to the affable and cheerful Spencer. Spencer started visiting our home with Helena several times. Since Helena was born, we hadn't been blessed with more children and she remained an only child. Perhaps because of that, we doted on Spencer as if he were our own son. Especially Matthew and Spencer seemed to get along well, often going to bars together. We grew as close to Spencer as if he were our real son. Then, after Helena graduated from college, she secured a job at a major corporation in the city. We were proud and wholeheartedly supported Helena as she endeavored to excel in her professional life. A few months later, it appeared that Spencer had proposed. Due to their jobs being in different locations, they weren't living together yet. Driven by the desire to always be together, Spencer persuaded her, and they decided to marry. Following this, Helena chose to become a housewife. Though she seemed to have wanted to continue working, Spencer had expressed his wish for her to take care of the home. Accepting his words, Helena resigned from her recently joined company to become a housewife. However, we should have gotten to know Spencer better at that time. Helena, supporting the household as a housewife, used to visit us about once every 6 months. After getting married and moving to the city, it became difficult for Helena to visit due to Spencer's work schedule. Spencer's job had become more demanding after their marriage, with him often working late. Helena would share these details during our daily phone conversations. Waiting up late for Spencer to come home and preparing dinner became Helena's routine, she said. Though Spencer seemed tired upon returning home, Helena's voice over the phone also sounded weary. "Are you getting enough sleep? It's good to wait for Spencer, but if you fall ill, everything will be for naught." To my concern, Helena replied cheerily that she was fine. But recently she had been feeling a bit unwell. She mentioned feeling sleepy daily and developing an aversion to the smell of foods she once loved. "I never had this issue before." Helena was saddened by her sudden inability to eat her favorite foods, and something clicked for me. Worried about Helena's health, I suggested she visit a doctor. Initially puzzled, she trusted my advice and agreed to go to the hospital.
"I think something wonderful is about to happen to you."
A month or so later, I received a call from Helena saying she wanted to talk. Normally, we'd schedule our calls, so I was surprised by the sudden call.
Hello. What's up?
I asked, sounding a bit anxious, but I could hear Helena's voice on the other end, unable to contain her laughter. What could have possibly happened?
"Actually, I'm pregnant."
Hearing Helena's joyful words, I clapped my hands in delight. She was indeed pregnant. I had a hunch when she talked about feeling unwell. It was the same symptoms I had when I was first pregnant with Helena. It seems she's about 2 months along and has already told Spencer. I was overjoyed by our precious daughter's pregnancy news and congratulated her. The thought of having a grandchild made me incredibly happy. To think that Helena, whom we've raised with so much care, is going to be a mother. That night, when Matthew came home from work, I told him about Helena's pregnancy. Matthew cried with joy, even more than I did. I was surprised because I had never seen him cry before.
It's like a dream that Helena is going to be a mother. She was so small back then.
Matthew's nostalgic comment made me even happier. We had struggled to have children after getting married, but the news of our beloved Helena's pregnancy filled our hearts with warmth. With Helena's pregnancy, we started visiting her frequently, taking several hours each time. Helena was experiencing worse morning sickness than I had, and with Spencer away for work, she had to manage the household alone. Thinking it was too much for her pregnant condition, I got Helena and Spencer's approval to help out with the housework. Thanks to that, Helena, who had been struggling with morning sickness, gradually began to recover. A few months later, she safely gave birth to a baby girl. Since Spencer couldn't be present at the birth, we were there by Helena's side. Afterward, it seemed like she had no time to rest, struggling to balance the new demands of childcare and household duties. With Spencer away for work, it was tough for Helena, now a housewife, to manage everything on her own. As Helena started showing signs of parenting fatigue, we made a suggestion to Spencer.
Is it true there's a good house available?
We informed Spencer about a new house that was available. A friend of Matthew's had built a new house but had to sell it unexpectedly due to a sudden job transfer. With no buyers and just about to put it on the market, the friend consulted Matthew. Knowing that Helena and Spencer had been considering buying a house since they got married, Matthew immediately discussed it with them. Especially since Erica was born, Helena had mentioned that their current house was becoming too small. We proposed to Spencer that now was a good opportunity to buy a house at a reasonable price. It would mean moving a bit further from the city to a more rural area, but being in the neighboring city, it would also make it easier for me to visit Helena. That was part of our consideration. To our surprise, Spencer agreed quite easily, and they decided to move into the house. So, the move was set, and we helped with the process. On moving day, I noticed that Helena, whom I hadn't seen in a while, looked a bit pale.
You don't seem to look well. Is something wrong?
Helena hesitated but then shook her head and said,
It's nothing.
She said, perhaps it was exhaustion from childcare.
Don't overdo it. As a mother, you need to rest too. Thank you, Mom. I'm fine, just a bit tired.
Helena forced a smile, and I couldn't help but worry as I watched her. I wondered if she didn't like the new house, but decided not to dwell on it as she returned to her usual calm demeanor. After the move, it became much easier for us to visit each other's homes. Spencer managed to get a transfer at work, so he started commuting to a workplace closer to home. Previously, I used to travel for hours to visit Helena, but now she started coming to stay at our house. Erica, who now roamed around the house, showed no signs of her baby days. Every visit surprised me with how quickly the children grew.
Lately, with Erica growing up, it's been tough keeping an eye on everything.
Helena sighed wearily, and seeing her like this reminded me of myself in the past, which made me chuckle. Helena used to be such an active child, always running off if you took your eyes off her for a second. When I mentioned this to Helena, she gave a wry smile and said, "Let's not bring up such old stories." She said. Erica, now 3, would run off wherever her curiosity took her. Every time I saw her, I was reminded of how quickly children grow.
Granny, let's play over here.
Seeing Erica's innocent smile, I was reminded of when she was born. The small child who couldn't even run has grown so much. It was a mix of happiness and a bit of sadness for me.
Children grow up so fast, don't they? At this rate, maybe a second one won't be far off?
Stop it, Mom. That's not happening. My joking remark seemed to darken Helena's mood significantly. She responded tersely, and the conversation abruptly ended. Since giving birth to Erica, I couldn't shake the feeling that Helena hadn't been looking well. In the past, she might have laughed it off, but I had never seen her show such a distinctly downcast expression before. What could have happened? Even when I tried to ask Helena, we quickly moved on to the next topic, and I never really got the chance to inquire further. For a while, Helena and her family visited us once every 2 months. But after Erica turned 6, their visits stopped. We used to chat when they visited, but lately, it was only phone calls. Helena, who used to share her parenting troubles, now responded coldly on the phone. "I'm busy right now, sorry." The calls ended without reason, day after day. I couldn't even talk to Erica, let alone see my dear daughter Helena's face. No matter how much I asked, I was always told nothing was wrong. I reluctantly tried calling Spencer, but his responses were just as curt. "Sorry, I'm busy right now. Can we talk later?" The call was ended with a cold tone, and it seemed like nothing I said was getting through. I even consulted with Matthew and had him try calling, but he was met with the same indifferent attitude.
I wonder what's happened to Helena and her family. They used to come over so often.
Matthew spoke with a hint of dejection, and I nodded in agreement. Feeling uneasy about Helena and her family's sudden absence without any explanation. However, a few days later, the situation took an unexpected turn. While we used to receive calls from Helena, recently, it was mostly Spencer who called. On that day, Spencer called to give an update, but I was out, so Matthew answered the phone.
Spencer, is work keeping you busy? Erica must have grown a lot now that she's 6.
During their casual conversation, Spencer seemed indifferent as usual. Unable to bear not hearing Helena and Erica's voices any longer, Matthew broached the subject.
We haven't seen you in a while, so we'd like to visit sometime soon. When would be a good time?
Spencer seemed reluctant at first, but after more than 2 months without seeing Helena and Erica, Matthew was persistent. However, Matthew, who hadn't seen Helena or Erica's faces for over 2 months, seemed unable to bear it any longer. Spencer had firmly refused, citing a busy work schedule, but Matthew had repeatedly tried to convince him, insisting he would just meet Helena and the others and then return immediately. Then, Spencer made an unexpected suggestion.
We're approaching the summer holidays, right? I'd like Erica to practice riding the train. Could she stay with you alone?
Matthew was taken aback by Spencer's proposal. Just then, I arrived home and encountered Matthew on the phone. During that conversation, I overheard Spencer mentioning that only Erica would be staying over. We looked at each other and pondered deeply. We exchanged worried looks, feeling apprehensive about sending a young 6-year-old Erica on the train by herself. Despite our concerns and attempts to persuade Spencer otherwise, he was adamant that Erica could manage on her own.
Erica is already 6. She'll be fine by herself.
Ultimately, we couldn't argue any further. While we were eager to see Erica, we also deeply wished to see our daughter Helena. We were concerned for Helena, who had expressed how challenging parenting was, but she couldn't come due to her busy household duties. In the end, it was decided that Erica would stay with us alone. Though we were saddened by not being able to see Helena, the thought of reuniting with Erica filled us with excitement. As the summer holidays began and Erica's visit approached, we waited at the station, anxious yet hopeful. As soon as she got off the train, Erica noticed us and ran towards us with a beaming smile. The joy of reuniting with Erica after so long welled up inside me.
Gramps! Granny! I made it here all by myself.
Erica's proud announcement of her achievement made us let go of our worries as we embraced her tightly.
Well done making it here. You're amazing. Granny is so happy to see you after such a long time.
We lavished praise on Erica for managing to take the train by herself, and she responded with a bashful smile. Savoring the long-awaited reunion, we headed home and even stopped to buy Erica's favorite sweets on the way. That day, we played until the evening, as if making up for all the time we hadn't been able to see each other. Erica, having grown in the months we hadn't seen her, could now read and even read us a storybook she brought along. As we relished Erica's significant growth, I started preparing dinner. Making her favorite steaks while she showered. Erica's eyes sparkled at the sight of her favorite ingredients laid out on the table after her shower.
It's all my favorite things.
Her delighted cling to the table and smile brought joy to me as well. However, Erica suddenly looked downcast as we sat down to eat. Puzzled by her sudden change in demeanor, Matthew expressed his concern.
It's your favorite steaks, Erica. Aren't you going to eat?
As Matthew leaned in and asked Erica a question, she suddenly stood up from her seat. Erica then headed straight for her bag and began rummaging through it. Wondering about Erica's actions, she unexpectedly pulled out a food storage container from her bag.
Can I take this home? I always feel sorry for Mommy.
Erica began packing dinner into the container, leaving us stunned. Seeing my puzzled look, Matthew quickly asked Erica why she was doing that.
What do you mean by that? Can you tell Grandma and me?
Erica, looking downcast and struggling to find words, finally shared a shocking revelation.
Mommy gets yelled at by Dad if she eats. She says she can only eat leaves.
I was at a loss for words upon hearing this unexpected disclosure from Erica. What could have possibly happened to Helena and her family during the time we hadn't seen them? Confused by Erica's statement, Matthew stood up abruptly, grabbed his mobile phone and wallet, and stormed out of the house.
Wait! Where are you going?
I cried out in an attempt to stop Matthew as he dashed out of the house. Matthew, holding Erica and showing no emotion, began to call a cab.
Hurry up! We need to talk to Spencer right away.
We quickly boarded the cab that arrived minutes later. Matthew, unable to hide his surprise, gripped my hand tightly. We reassured Erica, who was nervously fidgeting with her fingers between us, that everything would be okay. Matthew then took a deep breath, looked at Erica, and said,
Gramps and Granny are going to give Mommy and Dad a surprise visit. If you help us, we can rescue Mommy, okay?
Erica's eyes lit up, and she nodded vigorously at Matthew's encouraging words. Watching them, I took a deep breath to steady my own nerves. It was distressing to see such a young child upset. I reassured Erica multiple times that everything would be all right, staying close to her.
Do you know of any spots around the house where we can see inside, like from the backyard? Can you tell us?
Erica seemed to remember something important and nodded energetically in response to Matthew's gentle inquiry.
I know. I'm really good at hide and seek,
Erica declared with confidence. Puffing out her chest, Matthew embraced her tightly in response. About an hour later, we arrived at the house and decided to observe the inside from behind the exterior walls. The lights inside were still on, and we could see into the living room. Erica, excited, led us there, breathing heavily. We stealthily moved to the edge of the garden, hiding in the shadows of the trees with our mobile phones ready. Erica seemed to enjoy this outdoor game of hide and seek, her eyes sparkling with joy. My heart ached at her innocent laughter, and I hugged her protectively. The hidden spot she chose was right in front of a small screened window. From there, she could clearly see the living room, prompting Matthew to quickly prepare his mobile phone. Suddenly, we heard a loud voice yelling from inside the house. Matthew pointed his phone towards the sound and started recording. It appeared that Spencer was yelling at Helena inside. At that moment, I felt as if all the blood drained from my body. A chill ran down my spine as the Helena I saw was completely unrecognizable from before. Her once glossy, well-kept hair was now unkempt and disheveled. Moreover, Helena had become shockingly thin and her face was pale, a stark contrast to the vibrant person she used to be. Watching the scene unfold, I was dumbstruck, while Matthew's face contorted in frustration as he recorded the video. Spencer's voice echoed loudly outside, causing Erica to tremble with fear. It seemed to be a routine occurrence. The thought of our beloved Helena and Erica enduring such cruelty filled us with indignant anger. I clenched my teeth, feeling a surge of anger welling up inside me. As Spencer's voice grew louder and he seemed about to strike Helena, Matthew sprang into action. Immediately upon seeing that scene, Matthew dashed out.
Stop it! What are you doing?
Matthew yelled towards the window, catching the attention of Spencer and Helena inside.
Why is Matthew here?
Spencer began to panic, and seizing the moment, Helena unlocked the screen door and rushed into my arms. Her once healthy frame had become frail and thin, making me hesitant to embrace her tightly.
It's not what it looks like. There's an explanation for this.
Spencer, realizing he was at a disadvantage, started making excuses, but Matthew glared at him, cutting him off.
Be quiet! None of that matters now. Helena's life is the priority here.
As Matthew raised his voice in anger, Spencer too turned pale, at a loss for words. I stepped in front of Erica and Helena, who were frightened, as if to shield them. I stepped forward to shield the frightened Erica and Helena, with Matthew keeping a watchful eye on Spencer. Soon, an ambulance arrived, and we watched as Helena was taken to the hospital. Matthew immediately contacted the police to report the abuse his daughter had suffered. He provided the officers with the video he had recorded, leading to Spencer's arrest on the spot. A search of the house began, and Erica testified that Spencer had been physically abusive towards Helena regularly. They found a diary belonging to Spencer that detailed the daily abuse inflicted on Helena. The message contained complaints about Helena's body not returning to its pre-pregnancy state after giving birth to Erica. It detailed how he had ordered Helena to undergo an excessive diet due to her body not returning to its pre-pregnancy shape as expected. He had Helena weigh herself almost daily, monitored her closely for not regaining her pre-pregnancy figure, and was apparently strict about her diet. Among the diet plans, there was even one that involved eating only 3 leaves of lettuce a day. It was then that I finally understood what Erica meant when she said, "She's only allowed to eat leaves." Initially, Helena resisted and stood up to Spencer, but whenever she ate anything outside his draconian diet plan, she faced physical abuse. Helena, intimidated by Spencer's actions, became submissive. The diary even mentioned incidents where Erica tried to intervene and protect her mother, leading to Spencer raising his fist against Erica as well. From then on, Helena ceased to resist, as noted in the diary entries. We learned from the police about the severe ordeal Helena and Erica had endured, filling us with deep regret. The regret is overwhelming and unending. According to the police, Spencer seems to be deeply remorseful. However, given the assault on Helena and others, it's almost certain he will receive a prison sentence. Left alone, we held Erica tightly in our embrace. Subsequently, Helena and Spencer went through a divorce, with all of Spencer's actions coming to light and leading to his prosecution. In the aftermath, we took Helena, whose health was still recovering, into our home to care for her. Erica was overjoyed to be living with us permanently. Being freed from the daily abuse by divorcing Spencer, Helena's health gradually began to improve. Her once frail body started to fill out again, thanks to the care she received, moving towards a healthier state.
I've caused so much trouble for you and Mom.
Helena expressed her remorse with a guilty look, but I shook my head in dismissal. I never wanted to see Helena in such a frail state again. Our diligent care for our precious daughter paid off, as she was now regaining her former self. To celebrate Helena's recovery and make up for the missed opportunity, we laid out the hand-rolled sushi we hadn't been able to enjoy that day. Seeing the variety of ingredients spread out on the table, Erica's eyes lit up with joy. There's so much. We can eat a lot.
It's wonderful to be able to eat to our heart's content. Watching the two of them wolf down their steaks, we wished for this life to continue forever.